Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the player ratings for the Collingwood versus Sydney game. The Pies ran out 31-point winners and had the last laugh in this clash. And Adelaide seems to be a bit of a fortress for us, and a Sydney side that's been a modern day bogey side for us as well. We've been able to sort of rewrite that story. At least we've sort of turned the corner there, but. So for those who have been here, we've been doing player ratings for every single player. I think I'm going to reduce that to 10 players just to get a hyper focus on some of these players. And sometimes when I am doing the ratings for all the players, I feel like there's probably not enough of a sample size from the game to judge them fairly. So I'll pick 10 players that I think they had some sort of profound impact, whether it was good or bad. So I want to start with Locky Sullivan. I thought coming into the game, it was a worthy selection to bring him in. He played well against Coburg and did nothing wrong in that Port Adelaide game. And he really started extremely strong in that first quarter for the Pies. He ends up finishing up with 15 touches. It felt like whenever he had the ball in hand, there was going to be a scoring chain initiated, or he was a part of that scoring change. And then looking at his game afterwards, he ends up having 15 touches. He has 6 score involvements as well, along with it, and throw in 3 tackles. So it's really a game where you just can't fault someone who's come in, they've done their job, and there will be conversations in the week if Jordan De Goey is available, who comes out. Well, I don't think it will be Locky Sullivan. I think Locky Sullivan is fulfilling the Locky Schultz hole. I think, unfortunately, it's going to be probably Ed Allen. I think Jordan De Goey comes back in for Ed Allen, but there's also a world where perhaps we just rest Jordan to go for another week. I think that's very possible as well. So for Locky Sullivan, I reckon we're going to give him a rating of... I'll give him a 7.5 out of 10. I think that's fair. Now, it's always relative to the role. So a 7.5 for Locky Sullivan is going to look different to a 7.5 for Nick Dacos. The next player I want to look at is Isaac Quaynor. So I really thought Quaynor did a good job last night defensively, and he managed to find the ball a little bit more than usual. He ended up having 14 touches, just playing a genuine lockdown, small type of role. And I feel like, was he on Will Hayward from time to time? Probably. I thought he did well on their small forwards, and Sydney still had the same amount of inside 50s as us, so there was definitely pressure on the back six at times to perform under duress. I'm just liking the way Isaac Quaynor is going about his year. I think we're all removing ourselves from the stat sheet specifically when it comes to Isaac Quaynor, because we know that he's not the guy who we're going to want, or we don't need the ball in his hands. We don't need him to be taking 2-3 intercept markers a game or whatever it may be. He's just doing everything he needs to do to play the role for the team. So for Quaynor, I'm just going to give him... I gave him a 6 last week for having 5 touches. And it's a perfect example. Giving someone a pass mark of 6 when they've only had 5 touches just is an embodiment of what they're actually doing for the side beyond the numbers. I'm going to give Quaynor a 6.5 out of 10 this week. Let's have a look at Patrick Lipinski. So, I don't know. I feel like the fans are torn on this guy. Like I genuinely, this year I'm loving his game as that wingman. He had 24 touches. He's just a part of every piece. I think a lot of people's issue with him is his lack of hardness in contests, and I can see that. But he's a wingman, and wingmen, most of their possessions are going to come from the uncontested possession realm, so I'm not overly concerned about that. So he has 24 touches, 9 score involvements. I don't know what more you can ask for the man. His kick's going inside 50. You guys remember that snap on his left foot to Quaynor on the right side of the wing? Like, I'm loving Patrick Lipinski's game. His preseason suggested this was going to happen, and I don't think top 5 Copeland Trophy honours is out of reach for him this year. I'm going to give Patrick Lipinski a 7.5 out of 10. So we'll write that down. Okay. Moving on, let's see. Who else shall we take? I guess we can go Brody Mihocek. We can go Brody Mihocek. 8 touches, 2 contested marks, and 3 goals. So almost the same amount of shots as last week. He had 5 last week. He had 4 this week. The only difference was he kicked straight like the rest of the team. Like what do we end up having shots wise? So we had 29 shots, 16 goals, 13 behinds, and we were extremely accurate from the set shot. So it just goes to show you convert early, and usually that will carry in the team and translate a confident energy when you're in front of goal. You're not worried about missing because the player before you missed, you're carrying on this positive domino effect. So it's something that we needed to see from Checkers. We don't want to see Checkers having these massive output games but not converting it to the scoreboard, and he did that and more. So I think Mihocek is... Where is he at? I've got a bet with my friend Madison. He doesn't think Mihocek's going to get 25 goals this year. I've got him for 25 or more. It's a $50 bet. So let's see how I'm traveling. I think I'm clear here, aren't I, guys? Let's see. Goals. He's kicked 8 goals in 4 games. So yeah, it's a sure thing. Should have put more on it. But remember, gamble responsibly, right? So we'll give Mihocek an 8 out of 10 for sure. For sure. Jamie Elliott. Now, he was a big highlight going into this game for us in the pre-game show, and we just needed the small forwards to come to the party. Without Locky Schultz being there, without Jordy De Goey, who's been playing in the forward line and converting, it was time for the small forwards to lift. So 11 touches, 5 marks, 5 shots, 3 goals too. So a really good return for Jamie Elliott. Can't fault his game. He kicked goals when it mattered, and that's what we want. We want a Jamie Elliott who's fit and firing and is ready to provide that clutch game when needed. And putting a hand into this game and kicking 3 goals going into Brisbane is huge. It's going to be another 8 out of 10 for me for Jamie Elliott. Billy Frampton, I just got to keep giving him his flowers, right? He took 3 intercept marks. He just looked solid. It's weird. Like, okay, let's forget about Billy Frampton before a couple of weeks ago. He's not good enough. He's a VFL player, so on and so forth. He's so far proving us all wrong, and that's fine. That's great. It helps us out with this hole in the back line, and we are defending well further up the ground. So it allows Billy Frampton to defend what's in front of him rather than what's behind him. That's an important point to make. But it's weird. I almost trust Billy right now. I when I see the ball in the air, right? I see the ball in the air when it's around Darcy Cameron. I'm like, yep, sweet, intercept mark, done. Let's get ready for the slingshot. Darcy Moore, I even get a better feeling of Billy Frampton. A confident feeling knowing he's gonna clunk a mark more than Darcy Moore at this point. I'm not saying Darcy Moore's having a shitter. Darcy Moore is playing well and he's competing very well. He still doesn't have those sticky hands of 2023, but I'm noticing like Billy Frampton is just swallowing marks at the moment. So he looks very comfortable, especially when he's just the ball's falling on his head, where he's got no leeway to move and attack it. He's stood up strong and he's not fumbling. So, and when he has the ball in hand, he's just giving the easy option by foot. So I think Billy Frampton, what do you have? 3 intercept marks, 1 contested mark, 10 touches. I think for Billy Frampton, that's a 7.5 out of 10. So we've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players. Who else should we do? Let's see. Well, I think an obvious one is Ned Long. 29 touches, 17 contested possessions, 12 ground ball gets, 9 clearances, 1 contested mark, 6 tackles, 10 score involvements, 1 goal assist. Where does he stop? Where is this guy's ceiling right now? Someone in the pregame show said, "Hey Anthony, do you think Ned Long is elite or can be elite?" I sort of stopped it short and I said, "Oh, I just don't think he's elite. I think he's going to be a really good role player." Well, fuck it. He must have been tuning into that pregame show because he said, "Go screw yourself. I'm more than that." And at age 22, having a game like that after all the adversities he's had to deal with regards to being the sub, with regards to being delisted from Hawthorn, going to Collingwood's VFL side, he's defying what his ceiling is. He's exceeding beyond that already. So the egg's on my face again, and I'll wear it. I won't wash it off. If Ned Long had his hand on it, I just won't wash it off. I'll keep it on. It's on me. I can't be saying these things and then he does that as a best on ground performance. He's going to get coaches' votes. He's not going to leave the side. We're talking 1-2 punch with Nick Dacos now. What? Okay, I'll take it. 10 out of 10. That's our first 10 out of 10 for the year. Ned, everyone's calling him the Bush Ranger. Ned Bushranger Long then. 10 out of 10. Bobby Hill. This was another guy who was scrutinised throughout the week, and it wasn't like massively blown out of proportion. We all know Bobby Hill is a star, and when he's on, he's on. But there were weeks in a row where he just wasn't sort of present, if you want to call it that. He had minimal input. This was a game, once again, with Locky Schultz out. He comes in, 12 touches, 7 contested possessions, 4 shots, 3 goals, 1. The accurate Bobby Hill of 2023 was playing last night. 2 goal assists, so he still hands out 3 goals to his teammates and 8 score involvement. So a really massive game across the entire stat sheet, and he just looked lively. You couldn't tackle him. And I always say with these small forwards, you don't expect them to do this every week, but these are the type of games where you just want them to come to life. We'll give Bobby an 8 out of 10 as well. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2 more. Okay, 2 more. Let's go Beau McCreery. 9 touches, 7 inside 50s, and played 10% of his time in the midfield. It's not a great deal there. I know a lot of people want him in the midfield, but I think he's just so important as that pressure forward. He kicks his 2 goals, so it's exactly what we've been asking for Beau, just to add some goals to his game. It's just can this not be a one-off? Can we see this every other week where he's kicking 1 or 2? Because we don't see that frequently enough, and he's still young. I think he's 23. He still has this ceiling, and I don't know where it ends right now. I think he's a bit this will be a slow burn as to what we see with his maximum potential. But right now, what he offers is a pressure role in the forward line, and that is very important to the makeup of the Collingwood Football Club. I'm going to give Beau McCreery. I just don't think he did anything wrong last night. I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10. An 8 out of 10 is totally fair. Now, looking at the player ratings, they had Ned Long as the highest rated player according to Champion Data for Collingwood, and then Bobby Hill, and then Darcy Moore. And so this goes to my point, right, about Darcy Moore before. Has one of the highest rated games for the Pies, 14 disposals, 10 contested possessions, 9 ground ball gets, 10 intercept possessions, only the 1 intercept mark, but it's his follow-up work. It's his spoiling work that he's doing this year where he's able to just dominate his opponent. It's not something he was doing last year. The intercept marking, yes, it's a sexy stat, but if you watch the game, yes, there are times where there's a soft drop there and you'd love him to take that mark, but at the very least, his follow-up work is elite. His spoiling work at the moment is elite. So, yeah. Champion Data recognized that he was efficient. We'll give him a rating of 8 out of 10. So we've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think that's 10. I think we might settle at 10. I'm just going through the list to see if there's anyone else worth talking about. I mean, Nick Dacos. We won't talk about Nick Dacos in this one just because he does what he does week in, week out. And Scott Pendlebury and still side bottom. Well, stock standard, isn't it, for those blokes? You guys happy with those ratings? Let me know in the comments section and we can discuss further from there. Go Pies.